Hello and welcome back to the Start a Glamping Business podcast. We've got a bit of a special episode for you today, but first of all, apologies if I look and sound completely jet lagged. I'm back in the UK and jet lag always gives me an absolute beating, so apologies for that. But as I say, a special episode today because we're announcing the launch of our brand new startup called Posh Outdoors. As you'll know, if you've been a regular listener to our podcast or a subscriber to our mailing list, we've been looking to get into site development for a long time now. It's been a long held ambition of mine. We're finally doing it. And as I say, that's through a brand new startup called Posh Outdoors. We've partnered with a couple of serial entrepreneurs who are going to be the CEO and CFO. We've partnered with Edward Haynes from EJH Distribution, and EJH are the structure suppliers that have done a couple of ad reads on some recent episodes. Apologies for the quality of that ad read, it was very much rushed. And we've also partnered we've got a guy on the board called Ben Wolff who has been a guest on this podcast, and you're going to hear from him a little bit later today. He's got an incredible glamping site in Fredericksburg, Texas, which has done some pretty incredible things and was valued at $7 million after 14 months of operation. So we've got a bit of a dream team. We're going to get into that a little bit later. But first of all, what is Posh Outdoors? Posh Outdoors is a brand new startup that is going to be supplying luxury year-round glamping structures from EJH Distribution to landowners across the US and Canada. Those units are going to be supplied at no upfront cost to the landowner, and it's going to be in return for a split of the revenue. So it's a revenue share startup. The reason why we love this model so much is because it's massively scalable. We don't have to go through the hassle and complexities and difficulties associated with finding and buying land. The land instead comes to us partly through the pipeline that we generate through Glamptech North America and our content. We're lucky enough to have plenty of people come to us and want us to help them, and it's going to massively cut the costs for those landowners of getting into business. So I've given you a bit of a garbled, as I say, jet-lagged explanation of what Posh is now. To get a much better understanding of what it is that we're actually going to be doing, why we think it's such an exciting opportunity and why it's so scalable, I'm going to link in a video from Ed Haynes, our co-founder, now. It's less than 3 minutes. It tells you exactly what we do in a nutshell, why we're so excited, our first projects. We're going to include a YouTube link to this video in the description because the video includes plenty of lovely renderings which are going to show you a little bit more about our first project and things like that, but you can still listen to the audio. It explains everything you need to know. So without further ado, here's Ed Haynes, our co-founder, explaining exactly what Posh Outdoors is.
This is your chance to get into the booming glamping industry at the perfect time. I'm Edward from EJH Distribution, and we have come together with industry players and experienced entrepreneurs to form Posh Outdoors, the next big thing in the glamping industry. What is Posh Outdoors? In a nutshell, we deploy luxury, unique glamping structures along with huge decks and beautiful interiors to iconic properties across the United States and Canada in the form of a revenue share partnership with landowners. Why are we excited about Posh Outdoors? We know the glamping industry, and we understand that the luxury segment offers huge opportunity. We've seen demand for unique stays skyrocket. We've seen CapEx be repaid within 3 years, and we've seen the likes of Under Canvas be acquired for $100 million US with just 8 seasonal locations. We're even more excited because Posh Outdoors' solution sidesteps many of the industry's supply side issues. While demand for glamping has skyrocketed, supply has struggled to keep up with demand, primarily due to a combination of lengthy land acquisition processes and the delays associated with zoning and permitting. By partnering with landowners through the revenue share program, we skip the complexities of acquiring land ourselves. As most of our revenue share partners are existing tourism brands, such as wineries, wedding venues, and ranches, we also benefit from the commercial-friendly zoning that these properties enjoy. Our first partnership is on a beautiful property in Kananaskis, right in the heart of the Rocky Mountains of Canada. We have signed a contract to deliver and install 20 luxury year-round glamping units, including a stunning, unique new product, Tubo, in return for a 30% split of the revenue. All of the numbers can be found on our deal page, but rest assured they look pretty good. Beyond this, we have a robust pipeline of future partners, primarily generated by my business, EJH Distribution, and Glamptech North America, a glamping consultancy operated by our Director of Business Development. At Posh Outdoors, we've assembled an all-star team. Our CEO and CFO are serial entrepreneurs with several large exits between them. EJH Distribution is already doing 7 figures annually in the glamping industry, and our Director of Business Development owns an industry-leading glamping consultancy. board member Ben Wolff exited his first boutique glamping operation for $6.7 million after just 14 months of operation. This is a team that truly understands the glamping industry and has a proven track record of launching and scaling businesses. We believe this is the right set of people coming together in the right market at the right time for something spectacular. All of the numbers behind the project can be found on our deal page, and we're happy to take any questions you may have about the financials, the team, or anything else. We look forward to having you invest with us.
So hopefully that video explains exactly what Posh is and why we're so excited about the opportunity. We truly think it's going to be the next big thing in the glamping industry. We've seen the likes of Under Canvas sell for $100 million with just 8 seasonal locations 5 or 6 years ago now. And we think we can get up to dozens of locations across the US and Canada and potentially beyond within a few years because the model is just so scalable. And what really excites us just as much as the opportunity for us is that there's going to be an opportunity for the Glamptech community to get involved. To get Posh off the ground, we need to raise $1.2 million. That's going to allow us to get Skyridge Glamping off the ground as a phase 1. As Ed explained in the video, we're really excited about Skyridge. It is an absolutely stunning location, and we're going to be speaking to Crystal shortly from Skyridge to explain exactly what that operation is going to be and why it's going to be so cool. But we need to raise $1.2 million in a fairly short time frame. We're speaking to some big hitters from the Glamptech community, some of them from outside that community through various networks of ours. But we'd love to, but this is a crowdfunding campaign and not just kind of a venture capital raise. So minimum investments are $100. Obviously, the bigger the investment, the better. Ideally, we're looking for investments of $10,000 or more. So if you are interested, we'd absolutely love to have you on board. We've provided a lot of free content over the years. Clearly, that benefits us by bringing us leads, and it's essentially a marketing material. But I've been very touched by dozens of people who have said, one way or another, we've helped them along their setup journey. And that's very nice to hear. And all I would say is if there was anything that we would ever ask in return, it's that you would consider investing in this business. We are so excited about it. We think it's going to be the next big thing. Got a real expert team to make it a success. So obviously, we don't expect you guys to be a charity. We're not asking for you to send money to us. We clearly want to give you bang for your buck. And so what we're offering is something called a convertible note, which is essentially a loan to Posh to get us up and running. And then within 3 years, we're going to be going for a Series A raise. And at that point, that investment will become equity in the business. Now, that might mean absolutely nothing to people who don't have a financial background. It certainly didn't mean anything to me when I first kind of worked out the structure with the CFO. But essentially, if we hit our targets, and obviously that's a big if, but we truly believe we will, we estimate that a $100,000 investment today will be worth around $350,000 within 3 years. And, that will obviously continue to rise beyond that. Now, that's if we hit our targets. And as I say, we truly believe we will. We've got an expert team. We know what we're doing, and we're really excited. So if anyone has any questions about the investment, feel free to email me at nick@glamptech.com. I will do my best to answer those questions. If it gets a little bit more complex, then we can speak to our CFO and he can answer all the questions because he's the one that put the deal together. But we'd love to have the Glamptech community involved and part of this. As I say, minimum investment is $100. Ideally, we'd like investments of $10,000 or more, but anything that you can spare, we'd be very interested in. And as I say, we'd love to all make you all a bit of money and bring you along for the journey. And we think it's going to be pretty fun. We're pretty confident that it's going to be financially beneficial to all as well. Now, it's one thing to explain the abstract concept of a startup and what we're looking to do, but it's another to deep dive into an actual project that startup will be delivering on. In Ed's video, we mentioned Skyridge Glamping, and that is going to be our first project, provided we raise the money in time. And we're so excited about that project. It's just in a breathtaking location. The lease took a long time to sort because the location is so good. It was government land, and the leaseholder of that property who we're partnering with, they've done such a great job. They're building already. And the deal is signed with Posh Outdoors to supply the glamping units to that project. So this is happening if we raise the money. Obviously, we'd like you to be a part of that. To explain a little bit more about the opportunity and what exactly Skyridge Glamping is going to look like, we did a little interview with Crystal, who is the leaseholder of that property, to explain her background, why they're excited about the project, and exactly what that project is going to look like. So without further ado, here's my interview with Crystal that we recorded last week to give you a little taste of what that first project of Posh Outdoors will look like. Hello, I'm joined by Crystal Postel. I'm calling from my apartment in Edmonton, not the usual office space today. I'm flying back to the UK, so apologies for anyone watching on YouTube if they can see my bed in the background. Crystal is so busy building her site. Crystal is the co-founder of Skyridge Glamping, who is going to be Posh Outdoors' first project. She's so busy building her site and with construction underway that she's having to call in from her car, which is great, although the picture quality is great. So for those on YouTube, maybe it's not so bad. But Crystal, thank you for joining us. We're really excited to be working with you. You've got a stunning location that I think, as you mentioned, off mic, we think it's going to raise the bar for glamping in this part of the world. It's absolutely beautiful. But before we go into the details of Skyridge, could you just give us a bit of a background on your background and Robert's background and how you kind of came to this position?
Sure. First, thank you for having me and the opportunity. So yeah, our background is we both come from a generations family business, and mine specifically was in tourism. It was a very comprehensive business, a bakery, a restaurant, a fishing pond, a petting zoo, so all kinds of items. And but yeah, then we went on a holiday to Canada, fell in love, and we pretty much went back every year. And at some point, it's gotten serious and thinking, okay, should we move here? But of course, back in the Netherlands, I went through all the motions. Started as a dishwasher, then a server, and so on. So at some point, I was about to take over the family business. But then we were also wanting to move to Canada. So yeah, we made the choice and went in the deep end. Bought a business in New Brunswick, wasn't a glamping business then. It was cabins, log cabins, and it was a pretty much rundown business, but it was purely the location. When we first arrived there, we definitely got goosebumps, and it was just an amazing location. But yeah, there was not much business anymore. We bought it purely for the location and having some cabins to start with. And then we implemented the geodesic domes, which was the first in Canada and also for New Brunswick. New Brunswick obviously wasn't that doing well tourism-wise. So when we got that product in, the geodesic domes, immediately it was a big hit, and it really got picked up by numerous of entities like Boston Globe, The Price is Right, En Route Magazine, Harper's Bazaar, Condé Nast. It was just incredible. And that's also when it got picked up by Travel Alberta, because as part of their diversification of the tourism industry, they were looking to get people in to invest in Alberta and start a tourism company. So when we were about 10 years in New Brunswick, doing really well, we kind of reached a point in, okay, what do we do? Are we going to expand? Are we going to keep it going as is? But then we got a phone call, and do you want to have a look in Alberta? What are your thoughts? And we always wanted to move to the Rockies anyways. But due to immigrations, we ended up in New Brunswick. So that was definitely the moment that we said, okay, then, this is it. We're going to move to Alberta. So we sold our New Brunswick business, moved to Alberta, and the story continues because now we're starting Skyridge Glamping.
Yeah, that's amazing. And for those who don't know, New Brunswick's towards the east coast of Canada. Alberta is where I'm based now. Actually, it's kind of towards the west. It's not on the west coast, but it's not that far off. Well, not that far off in Canadian terms. In the UK, it's about it's about the whole of Europe away from the coast. But yeah, so and I've spoken a little bit about the Rocky Mountains before. It's an absolutely stunning place. I first drove through it about 6 months ago, and I just couldn't believe how beautiful it was. A nice piece of music on in the car as well, and it just it was unbelievable. And that's partially why we're so excited about this project. We'll be showing some pictures on the screen if you're on YouTube. If you're listening to this, then the deal page for Posh Outdoors will be in the description, and there's information on Skyridge there, and you'll see that the real pictures of the site are just out of this world. You've got the huge mountains in the background, and we really are raising the bar here, Crystal. I don't know how you managed to find that property, but you just said you got a call, but
Google
right?
Earth. Well, the
Yeah.
location, of course,
Yeah.
we did a lot of research, and usually when we're looking at locations, we use Google Earth, and of course the demographics and the locations, and what we learned in New Brunswick, we wanted to copy that, and that was indeed, again, finding a location when you get there that you get goosebumps. And so far, everybody that goes to the sighting, the Kananaskis, everybody is just blown away. And if we have that, if we feel that way, our guests will feel that way too, and we can sell it better too, right? It's definitely all about the location and the views. It's just feels so relaxing when you get there.
Yeah, and the other thing is I've got my marketing hat on. Obviously, the priority is the nice views for the guests and that they enjoy their stay. But you're going to have some unbelievably good Instagram reels and photos and everything like that with the mountains in the background. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. Just to kind of set the scene for Skyridge, could you just tell us a little bit more about what you're planning in terms of units, amenities, guest experience, etc.?
So what we learned and take away from the New Brunswick business is that if we stay unique, that's definitely our strength. That's what we learned with the geodesic domes. That's what we learned with either if it's surfaces or amenities. So that's what we want to implement again with Skyridge Glamping. So the units again are going to be amazing. Of course, Posh with the tubos is something super unique. It hasn't been seen here before in Canada, and it's all about the views again. So the big glass dome, so to speak, will definitely emphasize where you're at in the middle of nature. Super comfortable, super luxurious. So you got a nice finished bathroom, kitchen, incredible bed. There's definitely the highlights of the property are going to be the units. And then, of course, again, the amenities and the services that we want to offer, we will do our absolute best to try and stay unique and enhances the guest experience.
Yeah, and those units, the tubos, again, you can see the renderings and the actual real pictures of the units on the deal page and on Tubo's website. They are stunningly unique, and with the clear skies available and the mountain views available, they're just going to be perfectly suited to that location. Just to kind of paint a picture of the kind of guests that will be coming to stay at Skyridge and the kind of demand there will be. Obviously, you've got the Rocky Mountains, which is a great summer location, but also not more importantly, but just as importantly, there's obviously huge winter demand with the ski resorts and everything like that. So could you just tell us a little bit about what's available in the surrounding area and what kind of guests will be coming and, what kind of nightly rates they may be paying?
Yes, of course, because not everybody might be that interested in the amazing views. We got a lot of neighboring businesses that offer all kinds of activities. So you got the golf course, you got the horseback riding, the Nordic spa is definitely a big selling point for us, of course, and the ski resort. So it's definitely a year-round location. And that definitely will boost the traffic as well. Also, the drive through the Kananaskis, you can make a beautiful circular drive, firstly over the Highway 40 and then back over the gravel road towards Canmore, which is an amazing route. And I think, honestly, it would top the Icefields Parkway also because that's so incredibly busy. You still got all the dramatic views that the Icefields Parkway offers, but then with less crowds. Well, that's always better. So those offerings will definitely help our business as well to have a year-round destination.
For those who don't know, the Icefields Parkway is kind of a route up through the Rocky Mountains, kind of up past Banff and all the way up to Jasper, and it's I've not yet done it. I'm going to be doing it this summer, which I'm really excited for. But it's kind of known as one of the most stunning routes in the world, really driving routes in the world. And having not done that, but having done kind of similar routes as you say around it, I can say those routes around it are just unbelievable. I think it's very, very exciting to have a glamping site in that kind of area. So you're calling from your car. It's chaos as everything's getting ready. Construction's going on as we speak. What stage are we at the minute, and what's the projected timelines for this project?
So we're currently at the utility stage, so a lot of groundwork, earthwork that's being moved currently, and we're hoping to in the next couple of weeks to have the deep utilities in, tanks, etc. A lot was done before the winter too, but we had a winter stop, and that just takes forever here. So we only a couple of weeks ago we started back up, and it's now definitely a full swing. Estimation for our first phase, the sky boxes, would be halfway July, end of July. And then with the toppers hopefully quickly after that phase two. And I think so far the indication would be that we can be fully operational at the third quarter. So September, October is what we're aiming for. But we're still early on in construction. The deeps and everything should go in. So we're hoping to have a good overview very soon.
Yeah, and to hit those timelines, not to give it a hard sell, but obviously Posh Outdoors is going to be supplying those units, and that's where the funding is coming from. So for anyone who wants to invest in Posh Outdoors to get a piece of the Skyridge revenue share, but also all the revenue shares beyond that, then the deal page is there, and you can invest as little as $100, although obviously the bigger the better. Crystal, you've obviously, you've had a lot of experience in hospitality and tourism, having, your family background, but also your previous glamping site. What are you taking from those experiences that's going to be useful coming into this project?
What we touched based on before, the uniqueness, that's definitely what we learned, a strength of us. That keeps people interested in coming. And of course, location. The $1 million views is definitely unbeatable, combined with all the other amenities that the area already offers.
Yeah, and I feel like the answer to this question is going to be similar, but if there was one reason for people to be excited about investing into Posh and then indirectly through into Skyridge Glamping, what would that be?
$1 million views for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And for those who want to see them, go on the deal page. You'll be able to see all the pictures. There's also a link to Skyridge Glamping's website, which obviously has more pictures and renderings and everything like that specific to Skyridge. So please do go and check that out. If anyone has any questions about Skyridge, then just let me know and I can put you in touch with Crystal. Anyone has any questions about Posh, then just let me know, obviously. But Crystal, it's been a pleasure. I'm really excited to get this project off the ground. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing and stunning, and I can't wait to stay there myself. So thank you. I'm sure we'll be keeping everyone updated with your progress, and hopefully we'll be getting you open this year. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hopefully that gave you a good taste of what project number one at Posh Outdoors is going to deliver. Just to emphasize as well, by the way, that you're not just investing in Skyridge Glamping with that first, if you invest at this point. This investment opportunity is a chance to invest in Posh Outdoors, which essentially is going to give you a piece of what we expect to be dozens of operations across the US and Canada. It's like if someone gave you a time machine, took you back to 2011 and said, here's a chance to invest in Under Canvas and have a piece of every pie that they kind of own beyond that. So this is why we're so excited. We'd be excited if we were just offering the chance to invest in Skyridge, but we're not. We're offering far more than that, and that excites us beyond belief. And that's why we're really keen to express just how exciting this opportunity is at this early stage, because this opportunity won't ever be publicly available again, certainly beyond the Series A raise within the next 3 years. So this is genuinely once in a lifetime opportunity. I've not seen a team of industry professionals and serial entrepreneurs come together like this in the glamping industry to offer something with this much potential. So that's something that I'd really want to emphasize as well. Another reason why we're so excited about this project is the team that we've assembled. As I say, the CEO and CFO are successful serial entrepreneurs with multiple multi-million-dollar exits between them. They know what it takes to start and scale a business. But then we've also got the glamping contingent. You've got me at Glamprotect, having been in the industry for years now. And I'd like to think that through listening to this podcast that you've seen that I do know what I'm talking about. I've got some good ideas about glamping, and that I'm ready to really get my teeth stuck into site development. We've also got, as I say, Ed Haynes from EJH Distribution. They've got that supply chain locked in so that we can get the units out to landowners very quickly rather than making them wait months and months. We've also got a member of the board, Ben Wolff at Onera, a friend of the podcast, who, just to give you a bit of context, Stay Onera is a 11-unit glamping operation in Fredericksburg, Texas. It's very special because it charges incredibly good daily rates, anywhere between $400 and $2,000 a night. And that business, after 14 months of operation, Ben sold his 90% of his stake for $6.3 million at a $7 million operation. And in a world where, like glamping, where ROI is pretty good anyway, that is truly exceptional. We're delighted to have him on board. And just to kind of get across Ben's expertise, we did a very short interview with him as well last week, which we're going to splice in now, where he explains his background, what he brings, and why he's so excited about the opportunity too. Hello, I'm joined by founder of Onera, friend of the podcast and board member at Posh Outdoors, Ben Wolff. Ben, welcome back to the show. How's it going?
Going great. Thanks, Nick, for having me on.
No problem. So people, might have already listened to your episode, but just to give a quick recap, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you came to found Onera?
Yeah, sure. Happy to. So I got into hospitality and specifically, short-term rental world and hotel world back in 2015. That's when I started working for a early Airbnb management company. And then I started building up my own portfolio around that time too, slowly but surely. And then in early 2018, started to take it more seriously, had a handful of properties that we had leased and were subleasing and using Airbnb and making good cash. Had some friends that wanted to get into the business, so I started managing for them and grew that business from 8 units to 200 under management by the end of 2019. And that's when COVID hit. Soon after that, we had an urban portfolio, and that business really kind of dried up in a lot of ways overnight. And that's what pushed me to ultimately become a landscape hotel developer and create Onera Fredericksburg, which is a treehouse hotel in Central Texas in the Hill Country that we built in 2021 and opened to immediate success. I mean, we opened our doors to well over $500 ADRs, occupancies in the high 80s or low 90s even, depending on the unit type. And initially it was all on Airbnb, and we were, paying those OTA fees, those Airbnb fees that everybody is. And ultimately we started shifting to more Instagram marketing and organic social media marketing. And we went from 30% direct bookings driven through social media in that first full year of 2022. And then last year we did over 70% direct bookings. And then this year we're actually doing like the mid to high 80s month over month in direct bookings. So continuing to kind of see that trend upwards. And we got interest from a public REIT pretty early on. They saw some of our success with Onera Fredericksburg, and we were able to exit to a public institution, which was really exciting. So we sold Onera Fredericksburg 90% interest to a public REIT. The valuation was $7 million on the total property, so they paid $6.3 million. We made a very nice return for our investors very quickly. I think our returns were 76% IRR or something, and 4 times multiple on invested capital in, like 3 years or something like that. So it was pretty eye-popping returns. And this space can produce that. So I think there's more high returns to come.
Yeah, and that's a long way of saying what you're doing in this space, and all the more reason to be excited to have you on the Posh team. Just to refresh, could you just tell us about the units that you have on site and how many you've got?
Yeah, sure. So Onera Fredericksburg originally was 8. We added 3 more, so now it's 11. So that's our first site. And now we're actually doing right now a 50 key expansion across 2 locations, 35 million in development with the backing of that public REIT for those properties. So one is a 28 unit site in Wimberley that's on the hillside, beautiful views of the quaint Wimberley town in the Texas Hill Country. And we have event space, a beautiful infinity pool. And then we're also doing a 23 key expansion of Onera Fredericksburg. So in short order, we'll have over 60 keys in the Texas Hill Country of luxury landscape hotel product.
And I'm led to believe that there's an even bigger project on the horizon after that as well.
There is, very early, yeah. So we have a new property, Owasso Hill Country, that is a little more resort style. So, I mean, we're going all out for this one. We'll have a subterranean gym and spa that sits underneath a waterfall, and the main hotel will be built into the landscape. It's called the Earth Lodge, and kind of terraces down a hill, multi-story with green roofs and, waterfalls and grottos private to the units, and then like a bigger water feature that sits below a cafe. So food and beverage will be on site as well. So more amenities. We're going to have a big event space, so more catering to groups as well. But it's a big project. It's over $40 million in total cost, and 45 keys, event space, F&B. It's considerable. So it's a true landscape resort.
Yeah, and so alongside that, obviously you are a board member at Posh Outdoors, and I'm wondering, Ben, if you could kind of explain why you joined the team at Posh and why you're so excited about the opportunity.
Yeah, so I joined the team at Posh because, I believe in the team. I wouldn't join a team if I didn't believe in the founders who, obviously have had successful exits themselves, yourself with your audience in the glamping space and the experience that you bring. Obviously Ed Hayes as well with how much experience he has on the distribution side and, the units themselves and how much know-how he has there. I brought my GC into a call with him, and my GC's never impressed, and he was pretty impressed with Ed. So that tells you something. But in terms of the opportunity, I would say I think Canada is just such a right market for this product. There's next to nothing up there. I mean, there's a few like super high end, $5,000 a night type places, and but in terms of this, still high end, $300, $400, $500 ADR, even upwards of $1,000 ADR. There's not a lot of product up there of very nice, beautiful, sort of private casita style accommodations where you feel secluded and intimate, and it's got some of the best views in the world. So to have some of the best views in the world just enveloped in nature and not have this type of product seems like a travesty. So I'm glad that Posh is trying to bring that to life and deliver that to customers. And then the other side of it is I think that the revenue share model is pretty interesting and unique. And I think it solves a big need. I think one of the biggest needs in the glamping space is capital and sort of the ability to get these units up and running. And so if you can partner with people that have amazing pieces of property and raise that capital and deliver those units, then I think there's, obviously, like I said, more than enough demand.
Ben, you sold the opportunity better than I ever could. I'm sure we're going to be seeing so much more of you. Well, I know we're going to be seeing so much more of you. We're delighted to have you on board and as part of the team. And yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks, Nick.
So I hope that's whet your appetite just enough to consider investing. If you don't have the capital to invest, or you don't want to invest at this point, but you know of someone who might be interested in getting involved in a really exciting startup in an incredibly exciting industry like this, then please do share the opportunity with them, or just let me know and I can talk them through the opportunity. The link to the crowdfunding page will be in the description of this episode. That's where you can see the full details and physically invest. As I say, we truly think this is the next big thing in the industry, and we think it's going to make people a lot of money. That's certainly our intention. I'm staking a lot on this myself. It's something that I've been looking to do for a long time, so I couldn't be more excited. We need to raise the 1.2 million to get that first project off the ground. As I say, we are speaking to some big hitters to cover a lot of the initial capital requirements, but we'd love to have the Glamprotect community involved. It would be a real journey from when we first started this, and it would be fantastic to have as many of you involved as possible, and hopefully kind of make you money in a way that thanks you for your loyal listenership and your kind comments that really do help keep us going, and it really is a great support for this podcast. So I'd like to thank you all anyway for that, regardless of whether you put money in or not, but that would truly be the icing on the cake, and it would be a fantastic journey to go on together. So as I say, any questions, please do email me at nick@glamptech.com. The link to invest will be in the description of this episode. I think we've got just under 100,000 in the pot already, which is, after just a few days of going public. So we're really excited about that. The big hitters that we're speaking to, very interested, and we expect to get pretty close, if not, comfortably exceed the 1.2 million requirements. But, we're looking to raise more than 1.2 million. The more we raise, the more projects that we can get underway straight away. So regardless of where the pot is at, when you listen to this, please do consider investing regardless. The opportunity is here for a limited time. We'd love to have you involved. So email me, nick@glamptech.com, or just invest straight into the pot. we're really excited. I've said this enough times, but this truly is the next big thing in the industry if we can get it off the ground, and we need your support to do that. And it'd be fantastic to have you along for the ride and hopefully make you some really good money. Obviously, I have to give you the whole disclaimer of, there's no guarantees. This is a startup. There is always a risk that you will lose your capital. That is just the nature of the startup. But we think we have absolutely maximized our chances of making this a success by taking our time to develop a really impressive, scalable model, by partnering and being very selective with our initial partners. Skyridge Glamping, I think, is going to be a huge hit. The area in the market is just so good. We've got an unbelievable team who know how to scale a business and also know glamping. And while there's always risks associated with investing in a startup, and I would never want to downplay those, we truly think that we've kind of maximized our chances of making this a success. And we'd love to have you on board. So thank you for all your listenership, for all your comments, for subscribing to our mailing list, for just being there and being part of the community. This is only going to be the start. The podcast is going to go from strength to strength. Once Posh gets up and running, there's going to be more of a budget. We're going to have better. We're going to have more guests. We're going to have better episodes. I'm going to have a big think about how we take it to the next level and provide even more value. So we're very excited. But as I say, the capital has to come first. So if anyone is interested from investing in glamping or investing in startups in a high ROI category, and yeah, thank you again. We'd love to have you on board. Any questions, email me. But until then, let's go and make this a huge success together.